So today, we're going to look at a pretty radical vision for a communication platform, one that basically turns our whole idea of social media on its head. Imagine a system designed not for more engagement, but for more clarity. It's a fascinating concept, so let's just dive right in.
And the whole thing kicks off with this really startling, almost kind of unbelievable idea for a social platform. User activity goes to zero. The noise goes to zero. The goal isn't to get you to post more, it's to get you to think more.
So that's the big question, right? How could less interaction, less, talking, actually be the future? We're about to explore a model that's all about disciplined observation instead of just chaotic reaction. And to see how we get there, we gotta start with the problem.
Okay, so to really get what they're proposing, we have to first diagnose the problem with the system that, well, most of us are using every single day. And the source material has a perfect name for it: the fire hose.
And that's just such a perfect way to put it, isn't it? The fire hose. It's a system where we're all just standing under this massive torrent of information, and it's almost impossible to tell what's important from what's just loud.
Okay, this slide here is what I find really fascinating. It breaks down this fundamental shift in what each system values. If you look at the left column, our current model, it rewards speed, volume, and raw emotion. But then, look at the right. This new model, it flips that script completely. It rewards observation, synthesis, and restraint. It's just a totally different game.
And get this, according to this vision, the stakes are just incredibly high. This isn't just about making a better app. The argument is that the need for change is a matter of social stability, that a system rewarding speed and emotion over accuracy and responsibility, well, it's just fundamentally broken.
So if the fire hose is the problem, what's the proposed solution? Well, it's a concept they're calling the arena. Let's see what that's all about. The whole point of the arena is to change our behavior at a fundamental level. Instead of that endless, addictive scrolling and just those knee-jerk reactions, you enter with a purpose. You're there to understand what's actually happening. You take a seat, you observe, and you think.
Now, you might be wondering, where does the information come from? Well, the raw stuff, the data, is still flowing in from all these credible sources, so that fire hose of data still exists. But the key difference is that we're no longer standing directly underneath it. The platform's job is to help us make sense of it all.
But here's the absolute key. It's all about how that raw info gets processed. It's a two-step deal. First, AI does all the heavy lifting. It aggregates timelines, finds patterns, flags stuff that doesn't add up. Then, the humans step in to do what we do best: validate the meaning and connect the dots.
And this is a really, really important distinction to make. This idea of restraining interaction, it's not about censorship. It's not about creating silence. It's about creating an environment of discipline, a place where clarity can actually emerge from the chaos instead of just being drowned by it.
All right, so a system like this, it needs a totally new kind of leader. It's a huge shift away from the influencer model that we see everywhere today. They call them super users.
Let's break this down, because this comparison is huge. On the left, you've got influencers. They farm attention, they chase popularity, and the reward is a prize. But on the right, you have super users. Their job is to carry informational weight, to handle complexity. And for them, the reward isn't a prize, it's more responsibility. It's a completely different way of thinking.
So what exactly is a super user? They're called load bearers. This is not a title you're just given or one you can buy. You have to earn it by showing over and over that you can handle complex topics with real care and that you're willing to be held accountable for what you say.
This one sentence right here, it just perfectly sums up the biggest philosophical shift in this whole idea. In the arena, having a big platform isn't about your status. It's about stewardship. It's a burden you carry, not a trophy you get to show off.
Okay, now we're getting to the core philosophy, the big idea that holds this whole thing together. And it's a wild one. Reframing the platform, not as some town square, but as a living, biological system.
And it all kicks off with this pretty provocative thought. Think about it. In a healthy body, every organ has a different job. Your brain doesn't take a poll of your liver to make a decision, right? The heart doesn't compete with the kidneys. Each part has its own specialized, absolutely essential function.
And this is where that whole body metaphor gets super concrete and, honestly, really clever. Just look at how it's applied. The super users, they're the brain, carrying consequence. The AI,
That's the nervous system, moving all the signals around super fast. And content moderation acts like the immune system. It's aggressive, but only when it has to be to protect the body as a whole. It's a pretty cool way to frame it.
Okay, this slide gets into a really nuanced and, frankly, pretty controversial idea about equality. On the one hand, on the left, it says everyone must have equal access, dignity, and protection, non-negotiable. But on the other hand, on the right, it argues that for the system to actually be healthy, there has to be inequality in things like responsibility, reach, and consequence. The core idea is simple: maximum reach can't come with zero responsibility.
So the idea here is that hierarchy isn't a bad word. It's not supposed to be oppressive. Instead of some hidden murky popularity contest, it's a visible, role-based structure where everybody knows exactly who's accountable for what. It's honest.
And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of this whole vision. What's the goal? What's the point of going through all this trouble to redesign the entire system so dramatically?
Look, the goal here isn't just to build a tidier, cleaner app for the people who use it the most. It's aiming at something much, much bigger than that.
No, the ambition is way, way bigger. It's about building a system that can actually withstand the insane pressures of modern information and preserve meaning itself. Because a body that treats all of its cells like brains dies. A system that treats every single voice as equal in authority collapses. This is about building something designed to last. And so, all of this leaves us with a really big question to chew on. This vision makes a powerful case for structure and accountability as the cure for all the chaos. But is this really the only way forward for how we communicate? Or are there other ways to solve this problem? It's a fascinating question, and for sure, one that's worth thinking about.